This is KGW News at 5.
Let's take a look outside right now on this Saturday evening. A look over the city of Portland right now. Been a little bit soggy today. I'm Art Edwards. Thanks for joining us. And I'm here with meteorologist Joe Ranieri. Joe, what could you tell us about this weather today?
Well, I can tell you we're pretty much done with the showers out there on the last Saturday of 2023. We're looking at temperatures over along the central Oregon coast right now of 52 degrees, overcast skies. We're starting to see a little bit of some spotty showers the more north you go along Highway 101. Meanwhile, if you're going to be traveling over the Cascades, you are going to be seeing a few snow showers, but don't expect to see a whole lot in terms of accumulation. It will look pretty out there. It's not a snow globe up in the Oregon Cascades, unfortunately, but you can kind of see outside Timberline Lodge, a few snow showers, and of course throughout the central Oregon Cascades as well. So as we look at the timing for the rest of tonight and into tomorrow for New Year's Eve, we are going to be looking at dry weather. Again, we are going to be waking up to some patchy areas of fog, and some of that fog will be kind of just sitting over much of the valley a good part of tomorrow. So there could be a little bit of some light sprinkles and some drizzle at times, but again, in terms of rainfall amounts, we're not going to be seeing anything add up in the bucket at all. Here in the last 24 hours outside our studios here in the Goose Hollow neighborhood of Southwest Portland, we've seen just about 0.2 of an inch of rain. Yeah, we're going to see maybe some sprinkles, some pockets of drizzle here and there. As we go into Monday for the first day of the new year, we are going to be looking at dry conditions again, just dealing with some areas of fog. So the weather headlines: drying out the rest of the holiday weekend, patchy morning fog with some clearing in a few locations heading into tomorrow afternoon. A nice start to 2024. And as we look at the forecast for tomorrow, temperatures are going to be right around the mid to the upper 40s for daytime highs. Again, some places down in the central and southern part of the Willamette Valley will be dealing with foggy conditions a good part of the day, while parts of the metro area will be seeing a little bit of some blue skies. I'll talk more about your detailed forecast and what you can expect to see as the clock strikes midnight tomorrow, coming up in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Now on to an update on a plane crash that killed 3 people in Polk County. A preliminary report from the investigation says that the pilot ignored instructors' advice before the crash. That's according to the National Transportation Safety Board. The NTSB also said that they could not find any indication of any kind of mechanical malfunctions or failures. As we reported, the single-engine plane traveling from McMinnville to Independence crashed in heavy fog on December the 16th. The owner of the plane was not on board when it crashed and brought down power lines, sparked a small brush fire, and knocked out power to nearly 400 homes. Those killed were identified as Muhammad Hussein Musawi, Ali Jan Ferdowsi, and Mohammed Bashir Safdari. All 3 were pilots and Afghan Air Force officers who served with the U.S. military until the Taliban took over Afghanistan in 2021. As refugees, the U.S. granted them asylum for their work. Body camera video from Milwaukee police sheds new light on a death in police custody. The 26-year-old man who died was found unresponsive in the back of a patrol car earlier this month. That as police were taking him to a behavioral health facility after Providence Hospital refused additional care, and called officers to intervene. A warning: some of the video that you're about to see is difficult to watch. Alma McCarty has the update.
On the night of December 12th, Milwaukee police arrive at Providence Milwaukee's ER. Hospital staff explain that a homeless man refused to leave.
He was going to get a ride to a homeless shelter, and then he refused to leave. He was pleasant. He was conversant the entire time until right when his discharge arrived.
Jean-Michael Deskamp's seen here is that patient.
He's been evaluated medically. There's no medical problems for him. This is a chronic problem. He's not thriving chronically, but there's no medical reason for him to be here anymore.
Hospital staff heard on this body-worn camera video telling officers that the state Deskamps is in is all behavioral. Officers consider what to do and determine the jail won't take him. They plan to transport him to a shelter, moving him from the bed into handcuffs and into a wheelchair.
Let's just wheel him over by the car.
To the car?
Yeah, to my rig.
Okay.
Then I'll transport him out.
Then the officer wearing the body camera goes back inside the hospital to pick up Deskamp's discharge paperwork, capturing this interaction.
Why is he being released?
He's doing it electively. He walked in here. He walked up. He had.
Okay, we're gonna walk him to the front because We have no place to take him.
Bus station is fine.
We had him set up with a shelter, a cab to take him to the shelter, and he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay here all night, and so that's how that went for him.
It's not really a medical problem. It's malingering.
It's not really a police problem. Yeah, it's not a police problem either. No, it's not.
It's a community problem.
Leaving the hospital, Milwaukee police placed the 26-year-old on a peace officer hold.
Hey, Gene. Gene. Yep, I got it. Okay. He doesn't look at me.
The officers decide to take desk camps to Unity Center for Behavioral Health in Portland, about a 15-minute drive. But as they arrive, they find him unresponsive.
I got one. I think so, yeah.
Police pull him out of the car and begin CPR. Someone calls 911. Within 5 minutes, first responders arrive on scene.
They refused care.
More than 20 minutes later,
Time of death on this is going to be 11:31 p.m.
Jean-Michael Descamps passes away. Milwaukee officers can be heard expressing their anger at this chain of events and with the hospital.
Supervisors take him back in the hospital, and they refused him. So they were like, you're going to just drop him off at a bus stop, let him freeze tonight? I mean, he's not verbal, he's not talking, he's got involuntary drool. And they're like, nope, there's nothing wrong with him. It just pisses me off. That guy does not need to be dead right now.
Now, Providence says that an internal review began immediately after Descamp's death, and the leaders at the hospital have already taken action, though they did not say what that action was. In a statement, they apologized to Descamp's family and said, quote, "In this case, we fell short of our goal of providing safe, reliable, compassionate care to our patient." The statement went on to say, on behalf of all our caregivers at Providence, Milwaukee, we give you our promise we will do better. In Gresham, one person died after she was hit by a vehicle yesterday evening while crossing the street. Police say the pedestrian was struck while crossing Southeast 182nd at about 5:15. They say that she was not using a crosswalk. Authorities say that an off-duty paramedic tried to help the victim, but she died from her injuries. The driver involved remained at the scene. This is Gresham's 15th traffic fatality this year. Lawsuits continue to rain down on Pacific Corp related to their alleged negligence during the 2020 Labor Day wildfires. Our Sydney Dorner spoke with a vineyard owner who says the company could have prevented some of the damage.
3 Willamette Valley courts ruled Wednesday that several wineries across the valley can move forward with their lawsuits against Pacific Corp. They're claiming the utility company was negligent during the 2020 Labor Day wildfires, ruining their crops with smoke. Jim Bruneau, owner of Willamette Valley Vineyards, says the fruit was just starting to ripen for the harvest when the wildfires burned through the Cascades on Labor Day 2020.
A fairly small fire grew into a conflagration, and in large part because of the winds were so powerful that the transmission lines that were left on during those really high winds sparked additional fires, something like 12 to 13 or 14 additional fires. And it turned a small fire, a manageable fire, into a fire that was impossible to contain.
He says that smoke then blew down into the Willamette Valley, ruining the crops they were working so hard on.
Some of the grapes, of course, took on that smoke as they were developing, and so that made the fruit unusable. We had to basically declassify that fruit, and instead of using it to make our delicious red Pinot Noirs, we had to make rosés.
This resulted in a number of Oregon wineries and vineyards being severely financially impacted.
We couldn't harvest the fruit, and so that meant you spent all year looking after the fruit, putting all your effort into growing the fruit, and then you didn't have a crop.
Now Bruneau, alongside 2 other wineries, are continuing with their lawsuits against Pacific Corp, hoping to regain the money they lost.
Some of our colleagues were decimated. They lost their entire crop, or in some cases, they were only able to make half of their production volume which made it impossible for them to be financially sustainable.
Pacific Corp responded to the lawsuit, saying the winery's smoke damage claims are baseless and threatening their ability to provide essential services through spurious lawsuits like these and excessive wildfire damages pursued by out-of-state plaintiff attorneys who have a substantial financial stake in these outcomes. Pacific Corp told us they have settled and will continue to settle all reasonable claims. Bruneau says the company is working with victims of these fires to figure out how to make them financially whole. He's optimistic that his industry will get the financial recovery they are seeking.
And so part of what we're doing, of course, is making sure that we protect the reputation of the Oregon wine industry. We want to make sure this never happens again.
Bruneau says to prevent another disaster like this, it's vital the state make sure utility companies have the resources to maintain transmission lines and protect them from severe weather conditions.
The second thing we've got to do is make sure that our utilities, their customers in the communities are prepared to turn off those transmission lines.
Lawyers representing Willamette Valley Vineyards are holding town hall meetings in January and February to let other wineries know how to submit claims for recovery. Sydney Dorner, KGW News.